the simple answer. I mean, there's also a developmental lens here. I know you are friends with Ken Wilber, and one of the best lessons that I ever got, one of the most amazing cognitive tools I ever got, was the pre-trans fallacy. That, you know, there's different ways to hold a view, and there's the naive woo-woo way of saying meditation. Hold a view, and there's the naive woo-woo way of saying meditation. Hold a view, and there's the naive woo-woo way of saying meditation. Hold a view, and there's the naive woo-woo way of saying meditation.
We change our own environments. We're niche creators, so we don't just live in the Congo or the Amazon. We figured out how to go from the Arctic to the tropics to the frickin' everywhere, right? Be aquatic people, be mountain people. And then we also learned how to change our environments to create cities and be city people. And as a result, if we came hardwired for a certain environment, we'd be unadaptive quickly because our whole goal is to be adaptive to lots of environments. So we come very soft-wired to learn how to be adaptive to new environments, which means we are more impacted by our environments than by any creature. That's kind of the whole gist, right? It's because we create environments, we have to in turn be created by them to be adaptive. So we're mostly not controlled by our just genetics, but our mimetics. So our genetics selected for mimetics, for neuroplasticity and the ability to be encoded by our environment. And so we look throughout history at what people have believed and how they've behaved as a result of their environmental conditionings and ubiquitous patterns that were common within an environment. You say, okay, so there was a time where everybody in a certain area believed that God was Zeus, and there was another pantheon of gods around, and blasphemy against Zeus was the worst thing, and nobody believes that now. And they had the same genetic brains that we do, right? They were as smart as we were. And there was another time where everybody believed the earth was flat, where using the zero was witchcraft, where whatever the fuck things people have believed, right? Ubiquitously in the whole populations. And then we also look at, like, okay, we've got an environment like, say, Jains, or let's take Buddhists, where across 3 millennia, we've got tens of millions of people who, because of the way that they're conditioned, same genetics basically, the way that they're conditioned, all won't even hurt bugs. Then we go to the Sudan and we look at the Janjaweed and we see an entire population where everybody hacks people apart with machetes. And we say, okay, well, human nature is, right? Human nature is Buddhists and Janjaweed. And so human nature is radical plasticity to be coded by its environment on how to behave within an environment. Okay, so as soon as we get that, we get the importance of that our adaptive capacity is to adapt to what the environment is saying is fit. And now we have digital environments, and so many people have more friends online than in person, spend more time, have more contacts there, have more total information intake, and have more output. They have a level of shyness in person that they don't have online, so they engage more, etc. So the digital environment is the primary environment that is psychologically conditioned them. And humans are psychologically conditioned both in their beliefs, more than anyone wants to admit. We want to think that we're the really smart, rational, critical thinking ones that would have never believed in Zeus, which is just silly if you think about that for a minute. And, or that we're really the ones that are ethically self-directing that just happen to have an aesthetic like everybody else around us. So when we get that, we say, okay, if we're building digital environments that are inexorably coding our deepest patterns of belief and behavior, and that just is, whether we want to or not, it's going to. What do we do with that? What is a responsible way to relate to the facts of that?
Exactly. I mean, so that's really the essence now. We've sort of established the realm of the problem. And the problem is the same as the solution, which is just that we are embedded in a fabric that conditions our mimetics and our choice making and our sense making. And since there is no subtracting or removing the fabric, there's no vacuum. There's simply what's the different fabric we want to replace this with. I use the urban planning metaphor. We live inside of or inhabit a city of sense making and choice making called a smartphone. And we've just seen that it's filled with casinos and blue lights and AI and dangerous stuff that makes people believe conspiracies. The answer isn't just blow up the whole city and get rid of all the technology. It's like, let's make a livable city by paying much more detailed attention to wisdom and human values. The premise and phrase of the premise of the phrase "time well spent" is because time is the finite resource. It's not that time needs to be optimized, but time well spent over a lifetime is a life well lived. So what does it mean to have a life well lived? And to do that, I mean, our at least vision of some of that with Center for Humane Technology is to take a lens back at ourselves, turn the telescope back at how the human system works, and say, what do we actually need? So the first thing is we have a body. So do we want digital technologies to completely ignore our bodies and just maximize our thoughts, screen time, digital interaction, consumption, virtual interactions?
No, do that.
Or do we want to pay attention to the fact that we have a body? So there's got to be some portion of our lives and our experience that if our screens are supporting a certain sort of menu of choices, some of those choices have to be supporting the life outside the screen. They have to be supporting the choices we want to make with each other, and using our bodies and going places. So that's like the simplest example of some of these things. But I think, Daniel, you have some places you might want to go with this.
So I want to just double click on one thing that was an aside that you said, because I think some people will maybe latch onto it, and I think it's actually deep to some of this. So you mentioned driving people into polarization and gave as examples conspiracy theory and anti-vax. So I just want to actually say something about these things. Are there ever conspiracies? Of course. Are all conspiracy theories true? Of course not. Now, how the fuck does one actually figure this out? So
Ugh.